now listening to Snuff, Magee and Friends. Irrelevance in the Dungeon.
Snuff, Magee and Friends. Here we go. Snuff, Magee and Friends. Snuff, Magee and Friends. Snuff, Magee and Friends.
Snuff, Magee and Friends, Irrelevance in the Dungeon, episode 15. I am Snuff Magee, joined by
Archie.
Comedian Micah, Bamm White.
Pook D.
All right, what's going on, fellas? How was your week?
Great.
Excellent.
Muy bueno. 15.
I want
See.
to shout out Bamm for agreeing to join us in the dungeon today, man.
Shouts out to you, man, for having a dungeon to come to.
Hey, man, I appreciate you responding, man.
Nice.
We'll get back to, when I met you. I'll get to that in a minute. I just want to introduce Bamm, saying that this man has performed in 4 countries, over 80 U.S. cities, and 30 states.
Man, working.
God is good. Still broke, though. Still broke. But still working.
Lil Duval,
That's
got rich broke.
Yeah, rich broke. Yeah, yeah.
Rich broke.
Yeah. I'll be that. I'll be rich broke. Damn right. I am rich broke.
That's like Hammer.
Yeah. Rich broke.
He's a hammer broke.
Yeah. Hammer still was like 5 times richer than we were.
That's what Hammer had, like 300,
It's all
300
relative.
plus on the payroll.
It's all relative. Yeah, it's all relative. But I'm good.
Let's talk about speaking of rich broke, corporate comedy and hosting. Tell us about that.
Corporate comedy, man, that came in when I was on the road for like 8 years. And out of those 8 years, I was on like the road like 45 weeks a year. So I never was home. And I was living in LA for a bit of that time. And I was paying a crap load of money to live in LA, not be there. And all of a sudden I started seeing these cats come through the comedy club that I didn't know. But they seemed, when I go hang out at their apartment, they had the dope apartments. I'm like, yo, how you get this? So I do corporate comedy. I'm like, okay. So there's the trick. Do corporate comedy. So I started doing corporate comedy. And it's what I do now.
So what are some of the bigger corporations that you have performed for?
Oh, man. Locally in Richmond, I do a lot of work with Altria, do a lot of work with Dominion Power. I've done work with Nike. I've done work with Coke. I fly out and do this thing with these doctors every year at the Gaylord in Dallas, Texas. A lot. There's a lot of corporate. Then you get the smaller corporations like your law firms, your hospitals, which is not really smaller, clinics. Christmas season come around, everybody wants you at their Christmas party hosting or whatever. I do a shitload of corporate comedy.
Now, is hosting compared to comedy, is there like a one you prefer, or it really doesn't matter?
It depends on the setting. If I'm in a comedy setting, I want to do comedy. If I'm not in a comedy setting, I don't like doing comedy. I'd rather host. Because it's all about energy. So if the setting is not set up for the right energy, I don't want to be like in a fucking barn trying to tell jokes.
Yeah.
Just give me the mic, fuck around, make people laugh, have fun, create competitions, give people high fives, make people feel good. But if I'm at the Funny Bone, where everybody's tight, everybody's close, it's set up, everybody's front and center, there's good lighting on the stage, then I want to do jokes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of hosting, let's say you're hosting a comedy event where there's other comics.
Yeah.
Do you feel as if it's kind of a night off for you, or you still want to bring it even though you're the host?
Nah, I think when you're the host of those types, I think everything has its full relevance. I don't think there's such thing as a night off if you got the mic, If I'm hosting, there's a bunch of comics. It's my job to do one or three things. First, I got to be the first thing that sets the tone for the show. Secondly, I got to be the thread through the show that keeps the show at a certain level. I got to be able to come behind a bad comic and pick the crowd back up. And in my style, without fronting on the last comic. Because a lot of times, hosts will like shit on the comic that just did bad. I think that's kind of, I don't agree with doing that. So without dogging the last comic, I got to bring the energy back up.
Yeah.
Or if it's a comic that kills, just murders, then I got to appropriately bring the crowd back down to reset them for the next dude.
Yeah.
He might not be good. That good.
Well, even if he's great, you want to keep the energy, the buzz there, but you want to bring the attention back down so the next comic got a chance.
It's kind of like you kind of want them to forget them, but not forget them.
Oh, you want the energy to stay.
I mean, you want the energy to stay, but at the same time, you don't want them to be like still thinking about that last comic.
You got to kind of reset them to be able to listen to the next comic. Yeah. So when you the host, you on, man. That's a job. That's a job.
Wow.
So how long, like, when you started comedy to becoming a host, how long did that take?
I think when I first moved to Richmond, I moved to Richmond in 96. I started doing comedy that exact same year in Birmingham. I started doing comedy March 24th, 96, moved to Richmond September 29th, 96. I was doing comedy at the Slip and Shako the second week in October. So I came here and just went at it. My mom, stepmom, and pops was like, yo, you got to get a job. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to find out where the club's at. Because I know what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Okay, I go work at the watch shop in Cloverly. I get it. But, so I think you automatically start. For me, I automatically started by creating my own comedy room. What that was allowing me to do was bring comics to me, have the space, and then I can start making comic connects. Mm-hmm. And that's how I started doing stuff up in D.C., started doing stuff down in Charlotte, North Carolina. Not Charlotte, down in Raleigh, North Carolina. Started going back and forth to Birmingham doing different things because now I had a room. There was really nobody doing comedy in Richmond.
Mm-hmm.
So you was Tyler Perry before Tyler Perry.
Yeah. I mean, I think that formula and that system, it's what pretty much every successful person has done. They create their own space early.
You just got to have the balls to do it.
You got to have, anybody that don't do it, dog, I don't think they really are, how can I say that? I don't really think they're confident in themselves.
They're not fully convicted in what they want to do.
Because anybody that's convinced, they'll find a way to do it. They'll make it happen. And if you're not really convinced, you're waiting on somebody else to give you a shot, then you might as well just really go get a job because that's what you're about to become. And that's messed up. I think it's worse to become a slave to your own talent.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, that's one of my issues is like the fact that I have a job and I love comedy, but I always go back. Eddie Murphy has said one time, he's like, if you have a dream or you have something that you want to do, never have a backup. You know what I'm saying? Because with your backup, it's like you're preparing to fail. You see what I'm saying? It's like, well, if this comedy don't work out, I got this or whatever. Just go all in. And that's my hardest thing is to go on all in or whatnot. And you saying in '96, you jumped straight in the mix or whatnot.
Well, I mean, I still had a job, but like I haven't had a job in probably. I've been doing comedy 23 years, so probably about 15 years. I haven't worked in 15 years. Mm-hmm. For anybody as far as like sitting down, having to clock in. I haven't clocked in 15 years. So, but I set myself up. Like I had this job. I was like, man, and when you really know, that job is in the way. Like it's not even about I need to keep this. It's in the way. Mm-hmm. The timing. I mean, so I was blessed though to have a job that allowed me to take off whenever I had shows. So that gave me a little bit of more comfortable. I didn't have to be 9 to 5, ask for weeks off, take vacation to do shows. They understood. But then what happened was I've saved up money and I was like, I'm taking a 30-day leave of absence. I took 30-day leave of absence, and then after 30 days, I was like, there's no way in hell I'm going back in that building. Mm-hmm. And that was it.
Do you think Tupac had anything to do with your influence?
I just want to know how the hell he ended in Richmond. From Birmingham, how you getting up in Richmond?
My pops was living here.
So you had already been here, but you used to come here before.
I think I had visited once before.
When you was younger?
When I was younger. Then I was in Birmingham.
I was gonna say, I thought you just was like, fuck it, I'm going to Richmond.
Well, my dad was here, so I never really knew my pops. So like now, I was 21, and Ricky Smiley had Birmingham on lock. That's who got me started in comedy. Was Ricky.
Shout out Ricky.
Shout out Ricky, man.
So Ricky had like Birmingham on lock. And, I'll be straight up, and he'll even tell you this. I was like this hard-headed dude. Like, you try to tell me, no, you got to do it this way. Nah, I'm not doing it that way. Most of it I'm glad I didn't listen to. Some of it I wish I had listened to. Mm-hmm. So with Ricky, I was like, so a situation happened where there was a new radio station that had just opened up, came on, whatever, in Birmingham. And I wanted the job as the morning show comic. Now, keep in mind, I'd only been doing comedy for like 4 months. Mm-hmm. So Ricky wanted the same job. Ricky's the seasoned comic. Like, he already got the following. Yeah. But they were actually considering me for the job. So Ricky called me once and was like, yo, you need to stop going after the job. Just like out the blue.
Hit you with a cease or desist.
Yeah, you need to chill.
Now, was it Ricky, or was it like Lil Daryl Ricky?
No, it was Ricky. It was Ricky.
Was Ricky a thug?
Ricky is not a thug. Ricky good dude, man. Ricky's probably one of the most
I ain't
misunderstood.
saying like that.
Oh, he did some G shit. Yeah,
Exactly.
When he was younger.
Comedy G shit.
Yeah.
But I think in his mind, he was like, yo, I done worked hard, I done did this, and I did that.
Yeah.
You're some new dude. This is a big opportunity. You're not even prepared to get what you asking for.
Yeah.
And he was right. But he didn't say that to me. But now, me looking in hindsight, his thing was like, you have no idea what you asking to be done right now.
Yeah.
You're about to fall flat on your face. Would I have fallen on my face? I don't know. But I do know that if the same thing happened to me today and I was talking to me at that time, I would tell me at that time to hold tight.
Keep going for it?
Yeah, well, no, hold tight. You ain't ready for it.
Oh, okay.
So I think Ricky knew that. But after that, that was a significant moment because I was like, yo, Birmingham is Ricky's. If I want to be this comic, I feel like I'm capable of being. I got to go somewhere where, not there ain't no comics act, but I don't know nobody. That way I can do my own
fresh.
thing.
You fresh.
Yeah, so I moved to Richmond.
No doubt.
That's smart.
Yeah.
I think I got a nugget, man. I don't know. I'm gonna put it out there. See that's how you take it. Tell us about SemiPro.
What?
Semi-pro as football or the movie?
Football.
Football. Oh, I used to play football. Semi-pro. Did you know that?
Yeah. One of my homeboys, Eddie, said you played with you.
Yeah. Oh, shouts out to Eddie.
Yeah.
What up, Eddie, man? Eddie, wild dude.
What team you play for?
I played for the Virginia Hornets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, me and Eddie, we both were tight ends.
Yeah, I seen him today. He was like, "Yo, is Bamm coming tonight?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah." Tell him Ed said what's up, man.
Yeah,
Play
Eddie, my
SemiPro
dude,
together.
man. Eddie, that's my homeboy right there. But yeah, I played semi-pro football. I never played football until I tried out for a semi-pro team.
No doubt.
Never played in high school.
Wow.
Never played in the little league.
What made you try this?
I always wanted to play, man, but I'm from the hood, dude. We didn't have no insurance. My grandmother wouldn't let me play because I didn't have any insurance.
Yeah.
So, and she was like, nah. So I played baseball. I played everything else, and actually I played volleyball. But then when I moved to Richmond, there was a semi-pro football team. I was 21. I made my own decisions.
Yeah, you were athletic.
Yeah. So I went and tried out, and I made the
And
team.
then you know how we are. So when they be like, Bamm played SemiPro, so you know how that's. So I mean, was he nice? Said you was alright. Said you was nice out there, man.
Man, I had hands. That was the best thing going for me. I really wasn't the fastest dude in the world because I never liked to stretch, and I think that really hurt me athletically. But I could catch anything. If I could touch it, I can catch it.
In hindsight, do you wish that you would have played high school ball or tried to go to college and play?
Hindsight, no. Because I'm looking at my homeboys that play even professionally. I'm looking at how they walking at the age of 45.
Yeah.
So I'm like, nah, thank you, grandmama. I appreciate it. And even like when I played semi-pro, I stopped playing the second year. So I played the whole first year. Good year. I'm like, well, next year I'm starting to understand football. Keep in mind, I'm learning football at 21. Mm-hmm. So I'm learning what positions are, what play, what's up.
Yeah, learn the plays.
Yeah, all this defensive sets and stuff. So second year, I'm playing. There was a kickoff, and on the punt, and on the punt, I was a dude on the end. And I was a dude that if it was a bad snap, I go out for the pass. Mm-hmm. Bad snap. Kermit, the kicker, went to throw it to me because I was wide open. And he didn't throw it. I'm like, why the hell you didn't throw the ball? Then he just kicked it. Ball went like 3 feet, man. When I turned around to run upfield, it was a nigga looking at me like I'm looking at you. And he didn't have the same jersey I had on, let me tell you.
Oh, man.
Clean your clock.
Yeah, let me tell you, I'm a Christian not because I go to church, because I met Jesus.
It was one of them. You remember back in the day with Reggie Bush when they was playing the Eagles?
Yeah.
And he went out for that outside screen. And the man lit his ass up.
So the crazy
back
thing
10
was,
yards.
so I get lifted. We call it lifted. So I get lifted. And I'm on the ground, man, and I'm struggling. Like, I'm out. So then I finally started coming to, and I thought to myself, damn, if the coach got to come get me, we had this bet that everybody had to buy a shot next time we go to the club. So I'm like, man, I got to get up. I got to get up before the coaches get over here. So I'm getting up. The coach is running. So I get up. I run to the sideline. I'm standing there. And I'm woozy as a mug. All of a sudden, this dude come over to me. He was like, hey, man, your sideline over there.
man.
So he's on the wrong side.
Oh, yeah.
Wrong sideline. I was like, that's why my coach is still running at me.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was on the wrong side. After that, I was like, you know what am I doing, man? You want to tell jokes?
Yeah.
What does this have to do with jokes? Nothing. So I left. So I quit playing.
No doubt. You still a football fan? Or?
I'm a big football fan.
Okay.
Pittsburgh's still a fan.
Oh, Lord have
Nah,
mercy.
well, I asked, was he a football fan? I'm sorry.
Oh.
My bad.
6 times.
There they go. Just look, Ed a Pittsburgh fan too. That's what he do. Throw them rings out. You throw them rings
Pittsburgh's
out.
still a fan too.
Who was that? Oh, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. I got a mad Pittsburgh Steelers story, but I can't tell them on the radio.
Here's another one, man. You did a commencement address.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh man.
Now, did you feel more pressure with that compared to comedy, or?
Nah, man. I think so. I started doing convocations at James River High School in 2009 when I moved to LA because I coach high school volleyball at James River.
Okay.
So when I left, I retired from coaching the first time. I'm actually back now, but I retired from coaching, moved to LA, and my seniors really wanted me to do their. My juniors really wanted me to do their what do they call it? Convocation.
Yeah.
The next year. So I did a convocation. It was my first time doing like public speaking. And I added comedy because I know that's what I do, but then I would make points about, whatever subliminal thing that I'm trying to get through the comedy. And then after a while, I started noticing this works. So then I started seeing the effect that it had on people. Then I started seeing how much it meant to, I hate to sound like whatever, but meant to society. So I was like, yo, this is like what I need to be doing. So it's just another form of communication.
Yeah.
So when I do commencements, I don't really look at it like, this is a commencement. I look at it as, all right, this is a moment God has used me in this space to be able to communicate with everybody that's here. So it doesn't matter what title is on the event, whether it's comedy, whatever it is, Because I feel like when God gives you a gift to be able to speak, you have to be impeccable and real careful with what you say. And if you get reckless with it, you got to pay for that.
No doubt.
Yep.
And I think also the more that you allow yourself to be more with God, not just a comedian, God has called me to be a communicator. With comedy as like a underlying principle that I use as a tool.
To communicate.
To being a communicator. So, so I just use that wherever I'm doing whatever I'm doing. Okay. Yeah.
That's dope, because, I think with, I'm not a comedian. I've never gotten on the stage to tell jokes, because I just believe that is one of, if not, the or one of the hardest jobs there is. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? Because like we can sit around, talk, and then, we crack jokes and all that. But it's like when you that only individual and you on that stage and them lights, it feels like, the heat is going to intensify, you cooking and stuff like that. And now you got to tell jokes to people that you can't even have see past the first 2 rows.
And say something you think people supposed to laugh.
Yeah.
You don't hear nothing.
Yeah.
All that feeling.
Oh, man.
All that
Bro, all
like
the chemicals that's going through your body.
Like being a
control
preacher.
that.
like being a preacher. The preacher's that's a hard job.
Hey man,
Man.
when you got your hose on deck, you got your hose on deck.
But even with a pastor, like you have the Bible to go through. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, it's so hard. You can be a hard
but with
one.
comedy, it's like
Speaker.
you can't use anybody else's stuff. You have to be original. You have to be
As a
yourself.
preacher, if you know how, and this is true as a comic, but as a preacher, if you can lock into the rhythm and know how to ride that rhythm, you can move people.
Well, sometimes as a preacher, you got to have that voice.
That's
Some people
what I mean.
Some
Yeah.
people just got the voice. You see what I'm saying?
But even with that
But you
voice,
gotta be
there's a
saying
rhythm
something.
that, I
Oh,
went
no.
down,
Yeah.
down the river,
Yeah.
the river. And when you get into that,
Oh, yeah.
then you get your uncle who's been the deacon of the church,
And
for
he
years.
boosts you.
He knows when to say it.
Yeah.
Take your time. You get all that going on,
Well,
Yeah.
You get somebody on there be like,
You get that, yeah. Then all of a sudden the doors of those church are open. Then there's one more offering.
it boosts you up, man.
But I think with preachers, because I'm currently in and out, but in seminary, and with preachers, I listen to them talk in class, and even when they're trying to convince you in class or something, they talk with that rhythm.
Yeah.
Because they know that rhythm makes people pay attention. But it's not so much the as it is on, but it's like you know that
Yeah.
times have changed. I'm like, come on, man, just answer.
He sounds like Barack Obama when he did that.
That's real.
He sounds like Barack Obama.
But Barack got that preacher
Yes,
rhythm,
he
man.
does.
Yeah.
He can be a preacher.
Yeah.
When he's speaking, make you listen and look.
Yep. And that's what it's all about.
I'm reading this book on NLP, and they speak directly to that, like neuro linguistic programming, and it has everything to do with, like you said, your cadence, and as far as the word that you specifically use, and your audience is like, you're basically getting them into sync with a message that you want, but you're doing it from a linguistic programming way.
So go ahead.
I heard. I think I was listening to Joe Budden's podcast, and he was saying that they've been doing that with music. That cadence, like record companies, been learning how to use cadence to make people listen to what kind of music they want.
Oh, absolutely.
And
The Dream definitely been
how
doing
they
that
want
shit.
you to act too.
Yeah.
By putting out that kind of music. So basically the same thing.
But communication is cadence because even when I'm on stage as a comic, there's a certain cadence I'm going to have tomorrow night at Off the Rip show than I would have Sunday at the church. Then I would have next Tuesday when I do this corporate event. There are 3 different cadences. I can tell the same joke. Of course, take out some of the words, but communicate it in the space that I'm in, the way that the space needs me to communicate.
That makes sense.
And that's the brilliance of comedy, man.
Yeah.
To use the same joke, but like you said, 3 different ways or whatever.
You got to, but it's 3 different rhythms. When I'm in a corporate environment, I'm very slow. I articulate my words extremely. I'm very articulate when I'm in I'm corporate. When I'm like tomorrow night, it's gonna be some slang. I'm gonna be talking slideways. I call it slideways. That's when you kind of don't say the word the whole way. And then at the church on Sunday, I'm gonna be talking very intelligent because this is a church.
Yeah.
Very wholesome, if you will.
That's just like me when I be getting at these bitches. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right after church?
No, that's real. Hey, man, that's real.
Hey, you remember we went straight from the preacher straight to the. So,
but yeah, that's real.
How has comedy changed though? Has comedy changed for the better or the worse?
I think everything changes for the better or worse. I don't care what it is. Music has changed for the better or the worse. I think everything. NBA has changed for the better or the worse. Everything. So yeah, it has changed for the better or the worse. How it has changed for the better, I think comedy itself is more accessible now. Like back in the days, it was hard to go see comedy. Now it's way more accessible. You can get it on Instagram. You can get it on YouTube. You can get it. Anybody. I mean, remember back in the day, we had to wait for Comedy View to come on.
That's right.
At 10 o'clock, and that was if you had cable.
Yeah.
And if you had HBO, you got to see Def Jam.
That's the only premium joint we had. I think we had that because of Def Jam.
Yeah, exactly.
HBO,
And then other than those 2 things, you had to go to the actual show.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't that accessible. So now comedy is mad accessible.
Yeah.
The bad side of that is you get some people that's accessing it shouldn't be accessing it.
So
That's on the wrong side of the screen. Some people need to be on this side watching it. And we get people that's on the inside.
So you speaking on Tiffany Haddish? Is that what it is?
No, hold on, no.
Okay.
I'm not going front. Here's how I think about that. I mean, and I get your point because I get that sentiment is that all the time. Hey man, you think Tiffany funny? Here's what I think. I think hard work deserves reward. There's a book called Talent is Overrated. And in the book, it speaks about people that are extremely talented normally has this habit of not doing everything it takes to be great.
Yeah.
Because the talent is so natural that they're not doing everything. But then the one that's...
It's like a great quarterback. He don't have to work. He don't have to work as hard as somebody that ain't.
In his mind, he doesn't think. In his mind.
I get you.
But the one that's not that good, they have to work their butt off.
That's right.
So what it says is that the one that really outworks the other is the one that always wins. Tiffany works.
Yeah.
She didn't get this like just sitting on the corner. She met Kevin one day and it happened. Nah, when I was in LA, Tiffany, you go to an open mic, Tiffany is there. You go to like a major stage, Tiffany is there. Even if she's not on stage, she's studying. If you go to a casting call, Tiffany is there. And nobody knew who she was. So then when she blew up, everybody like, well, who did this chick come from?
Yeah.
She been busting her ass for years.
You said, she has a story behind
She
it.
outworked everybody.
And if you listen to all the comics, all of them done worked with her and say that she slept on couches and
She
slept on cars,
outworked
put her time
everybody.
in.
And
Same thing with Kevin Hart. People think Kevin Hart got on. Kevin Hart's first show was here in Richmond, first road show was here in Richmond, Virginia at Armani's. I was the host, and a dude named Ray brought him down. Within the next year, Kevin had moved to LA. Then about 7 or 8 years later, I saw him on 40-Year Version, I think of what it was. One of the movies, like the first movie he was in. Then after that, I saw him in another movie. Then after that, he had a short thing on Comedy Central.
Yeah.
Then he had a special on Comedy Central. Then you start to see him come to the Funny Bones.
Yeah.
And then I started to see him when I would go to other Funny Bones, he would have just left or he was on his way.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, kaboom. He outworked everybody.
Do you think his career would have been the same career if Cat wouldn't have been?
Oh, absolutely, I do.
You think he would still been that big?
Yes, I absolutely.
I seen Kevin Harlow. He funny.
Kevin.
I'm not knocking Kevin because I like Kevin. He's a great comic. I really do. I was just saying, you know how like sometime if one person go away, then somebody else can slide in that void.
But I don't think that void mattered to Kevin. And what I mean by that is Kevin's success wasn't contingent on what anybody else does.
Yeah.
Kevin set up his own success.
Yeah.
The one, like,
comedy is
it's like an
different.
Oprah or anybody that's extremely successful.
I like Kevin. I mean, I like him a lot. He's a great comic.
Yeah, but Kevin kept the same 5 cats around him the whole time. Nate, Ed, some other cats. They all grew together. They made a plan. They worked the plan. The biggest thing black people don't have that Kevin has is execution and patience. We want the shit right
Patience
now.
is huge.
And that's what I mean about that access. You know, you getting people on the other side of the screen doing quick shit, thinking I'm gonna blow up in 20 minutes, but you ain't ready.
Yeah.
You have no idea what you asking
Plus
of
loyalty,
yourself.
too.
And that's the thing about social media. You have so many, videos that go viral.
Yeah.
And it could just be that one funny video, but then it's like,
Then they feel like they got to do a bunch
yeah,
of
what are you doing
follow-up
after
stuff.
that?
What's next?
And there have been some comics that started with the videos that I'm a fan of. Like, I'm a fan of Ha Ha Davis. I'm a fan. I'm actually a fan of Spice Adams. Like, he's not even a comedian, but this dude,
He just does funny shit.
yeah, he's a funny guy, man.
I don't hate on the. Again, that's why I say I think that's the good thing. Everybody that gets into the Instagram and doing all that kind of good stuff, because we didn't have that when I first started doing comedy.
Yeah.
But what I do tell cats is make sure you work on your craft, man. You got to be in front of people. It's cool to make that video, but the magic happens when the person's right in front of you.
No doubt.
And I think a lot of people get figured out that way because they get 1 million followers. They come to your town, they sell tickets, and you're like, what is this? So
a lot of them jokers got booed off the stage.
yeah. I mean, it's a rude awakening because I think people equate success to popularity, and that's totally not true.
No, absolutely not.
But I think in a lot of people's mind, that's what they think. Yeah.
Now, with you being in LA and you going all across the country, you worked with other, with famous comedians. Now, before you became famous, like when you first started working with famous comedians, how did that feel? Was it like you pretty much?
I think in the beginning, I don't know if I would say I made it. And I don't even know if really right now, and I think this is if you ask anybody that's trying to make moves, is I even say I made it yet. I got so far to go. But when I started to notice that I was around successful people all the time in a normal environment, it let me know that I belonged. It wasn't about, then it also normalized everything to me. Like, for example, it's very few people I would meet now that I would be like starstruck. Because then it made Denzel look like just a regular dude. It made, Wesley Snipes, made whoever I would meet, okay, you're just a regular dude.
Now, have you had a starstruck moment, though? And then in the beginning?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the beginning, come on, I'm from the hood, man. You know what I mean? Like,
who was the biggest?
Starstruck.
Oh, man. I remember when I first met Bernie Mac, I was like, what's up? I met him here at the Landmark Theater, backstage. Who else can I say? I mean, I've met a LeBron. When the LeBron moment to me is one of the greatest moments of my life. It is not just what happened in that moment, but something he said to me that happened later. That it is one of those moments that I'm like.
Is it like recent LeBron or like back in the day?
Here's the story. So I'm gonna try to make it fast. I was on the road with Gary Owen.
Nice.
Okay. So I'm opening for Gary. I was on the road with him for like 2 years. So Gary got the call to open for Chris Bosh's, to perform for Chris Bosh's birthday party. So I was on the road with Gary. We were doing Miami anyway, so they got me paid to come in and open for Gary. So I opened for Gary. It was 2012, the only people that was there was the Miami Heat basketball team, their wives, and some coaches. Like Pat Riley was there, Eric Spoelstra was there, and it was in Miami. So at a cultural arts center or something. So it's me. D. Ray Davis was headlining at the Improv in town. He heard about the show, and he just came anyway. Mm-hmm. So instead of me hosting, D. Ray decided to host. They didn't let me open up.
Oh, okay.
So Chrisette Michelle was performing. So she performed first.
Wow.
Timberland was there. And then D. Ray went on after Chrisette. Then after D. Ray was me. Now keep in mind, all the names I just said, it's the Miami Heat basketball team. I'm the only person in there that nobody knows. Like, other than Gary.
The wild card.
And D-Ray knows me. But other than those two, don't nobody know who the hell I am. So I go on stage. First 3-4 minutes, man, they weren't laughing at nothing. They actually turned around and started eating.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
And you was like, what the hell?
They said, well, clearly this is the intermission.
Yeah. Clearly. Clearly, people sitting plates on stage with me to take to the back. To the back when I get off. I mean, it was just a bad situation. And that didn't really happen, but you get the point. You get the sentiment. Yeah. But then I said something, man, and LeBron turned around and bust out laughing. Soon as he laughed, everybody put their forks down and turned around and started listening.
Everybody else permission. Yeah.
So he laughed, show goes on. I ended up having a great show. Get off stage. I was out front talking to my girlfriend at the time. And Pat Riley, I was out there by myself in the lobby, all alone. Everybody was in there partying. And Pat Riley walked out, and he walked past me, and he stops, and he comes back to me. He goes, do you have a second? And I was on the phone. I was talking to my girl. He was like, do you have a second? I was like, I'll break up with this bitch.
Throw that phone in the lake.
Do I have a second? How much time do you need? So he was like, great job, this, that, and the other. He said, I can see you're a little nervous. He said, but I just wanted to I came out here to tell you that you're a superstar. He said, I don't know if it's something that you feel inadequate because you might not have materialistically what they have, but you have, he said, your talent as a comedian is equivalent to their talent as basketball players. He said, so go back in there and have a good time with the people you belong with. That's what Pat Riley told me.
Pat Riley?
So
that's a coach.
So at this moment, exactly.
That's a coach right
there. So at this moment,
get back in the game.
I hang up the phone. I'm like, I don't even think I said bye. I think I just hung up the phone. And then I walk back in, and I'm standing around, and I'm like nervous. I'm still nervous. So I ended up going to talk to like the bench players first. You know, just to start a conversation with people. The three dudes I saw standing in the corner by themselves with their arm crossed wasn't saying nothing. I knew they was the bench players. I didn't know who they was. Talked to them. Then I went and started talking to Mike Miller. Then I left Mike Miller. I remember the steps. I left Mike Miller. Went to Juwan Howard. Talked to him for a minute. Great conversation with him. Left him and went and talked to Dwayne Wade. Took a picture with Dwayne. Took a picture with Juwan too. Then left Dwayne Wade and LeBron was just standing there. And I just walked over. I was like, yo, what's up, man? He was like, yo, you so funny. Yada, yada, yada. I was like, that's what's up. Took a picture with him. He was like, yo, you going to the after party? I was like, yeah, I'm going to the after party. He's like, all right, you rolling with me. So I'm riding with LeBron James to the after party.
Oh, man.
So I don't want to talk basketball because I'm like, everybody talks basketball. Yeah. And so I said something. I said, after you get a championship, this is 2012. I said, after you get a championship this year, I said, after you get a championship this year, that'll pretty much check the box of you winning the championship. You'll be happy. He said, nah, all my life I ever wanted to do was bring a championship to Cleveland. So I was like, well, so much for that idea. He was like, nah, I'm going to do it.
So you already knew.
So I'm in the car in 2012. He had not won a championship yet. And this dude just told me
he told you something.
He was going to win a championship. Like that was something that he really wanted to do.
Told you some
so I never forget 3 years later, 3 years later, I'm sitting in the barbershop and they were like, Stephen A. Smith were like, LeBron James has the money. Cleveland has the money to bring LeBron James back. Everybody was like, nah. It ain't gonna happen. And I'm in the chair. I didn't say anything out loud, but I was like,
yeah, he going back.
This dude going back to Cleveland.
Yo, you like the dude in Back to the Future, you know what I'm saying? Like the sports almanac.
Word. So long story short, when he ended up winning that championship in Cleveland,
full circle,
I was sitting there like, yo,
it happened.
This dude told me at a time where if I would have told anybody this story, they would be like, me, if you don't shut up, that he was going to do this. Yeah. And he did it.
But that's what make remember the speech after the game? It makes it even more special because when he started out, he was like, you know, I started out with a goal. And now it's like that goal was like longer than people realize and whatnot.
He said, Cleveland, this was for you. He did, So You know, and I don't know how many other people. Maybe he freely trusted people with telling them that particular piece of information. But
being at that event.
Yeah, but I felt like so that moment. That's probably. I almost got hit by Samuel Jackson in L.A.
What?
That was pretty cool.
You almost got hit.
How was L.A.?
L.A. was good. I was leaving the casino, walking across the street, and in L.A., no cars going to the crosswalk. That's like you don't do that. And this Jaguar, drop top Jaguar, pulled in the crosswalk, and I stopped and turned around and looked. I was about to be like, motherfucker. And I looked up. It was broad daylight. Samuel Jackson.
The king of the motherfuckers.
Yeah. And all I did was I gave him the deuces, and he nodded his head, and I just kept walking.
Yeah.
So
Get out the street,
that's
motherfucker.
You say Gary? I listen to Gary every week. I listen to his podcast every week.
Oh, all right.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen the last time I worked with Gary was when we taped the Showtime special.
He just did another one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You ready to come out?
Have you seen the joke where the dude comes on stage and says nigga for him?
Yeah, he always talking.
That's me.
You did it.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He was talking about that not that long ago.
Really?
Yeah, he was talking about it on his podcast.
Yeah, we did that. That was yeah.
You ever met his daddy?
Nah, I never met his. Yeah, I did meet his pops.
His daddy talked just like Bill Clinton, yo. Just like Bill Clinton.
Where's Gary from?
Ohio.
He's in Ohio?
Yeah, Cincinnati. Yeah, good dude.
Him and he was talking about how he was trying to get like an all Ohio comedy joint with him, Cat Williams, because a cat from Ohio too, and Dave Chappelle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dave. Yeah, he lives in Ohio.
Dayton.
Yeah, no doubt.
Dayton, Cincinnati. Yep.
Yeah.
Tell us about RVA Has Talent.
RVA Has Talent, man. I'm trying to be as short as I can, but I know you're gonna chop it up. But RVA Has Talent. It was
no chopping.
It is a mission that I came back from LA to kind of help cats do. So when I lived in LA, what I noticed was everybody was kind of standing in line, if you will. Put it this way, here's an analogy I like to use. You at a bus stop, it's a bunch of artists, dope artists, talented artists at the bus stop. The bus pulls up, opens the doors, but you can't just get on the bus. Driver comes off, tells anybody that's, you're welcome to get on the bus. But when you get on the bus, you can only sit in the front of the bus. The party's in the back of the bus. But there's a dude that owns the bus, and he controls the bus. And you're standing there waiting to get on somebody else's bus. The thing about this dude is he makes money off you the moment you step on the bus. You might not make money.
Wow.
He gonna make the moment you step on the bus, he gonna make money off you. But then also when you get kicked off the bus, inevitably, he gonna make money off you. So he gonna make money off you as you get on. He gonna make money off you when you get off. And while you on it, you really don't make a lot of money. A lot of money just come through you, but you don't really make a lot of money. But then once you get in the back of the bus, that's where the party at, and you like, fuck the money. I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
So when I moved back to Richmond, my thing was really, man, to try to help cats understand how they can make their own bus, without having to depend, or at least understand how the bus works. That way, when you run out to LA to become a star, you run out to New York, you have really your own plan. That's why I said the thing about Kevin. Kevin was in the process of creating his own bus. And the thing about when you got your own bus and it's dope, people will pay to use your bus, but you own everything on the bus.
You can lease it.
And that's what you do. You lease your bus.
That's like that Laughing Loud joint that Kevin got.
Yeah.
And now they bringing that to TV.
So I came back to Richmond, man, to kind of help cats, and then also to help cats understand how they can be a business right here in Richmond. I think you get a lot of people. Anything that you do business-wise is about itemizing. It's an itemizing, and it's a numbers game. If you want to do, if say for instance you got a space right now and you got $2,000 in bills that you want to pay, you can find a space. You say all I need is 50 people to pay $10 every week, and I can keep all the money. And you do that once a week. That right there, that's $2,000, and you're only trying to reach 50 people to pay $10. So what product can you have that can get 50 people that you can profit $10 off of a week? So it's a numbers game. I think what happens is because we're so, especially as African Americans, we're so employee minded that we don't really understand how simple the number system is. Yeah. So you make your own bus. You do your own number system.
Do you think the Funny Bone got a monopoly in Virginia? Why there's only one comedy house in Richmond? Because there used to be one in Hopewell, but it didn't last long.
Well, there's a lot of open mics in Richmond. during the week. Now, Funny Bone is like where the bigger acts are coming, but it's a lot of open mics around the city, and I didn't realize there's so many. It's a lot of comics in RVA.
But they had a big joint that was competing with Funny Bone and Hopewell when the Tropicana was there. Because I wouldn't have seen a couple big names.
You talking about it's at the old Splash Richmond Virginia House of Comedy.
Yeah, the one that was over there in Hopewell by like going to the DMV.
Splash.
Yeah,
Splash.
It was the old Splash. Yeah, Virginia House of Comedy. That was a dude named Rob and his wife Lori. They were in Virginia Beach. Then they expanded here. Now they don't have either one. But yeah, but I think the thing about comedy, man, is you really got to understand how to make it successful. Just having funny dudes on stage, it's not a way to do it. The Funny Bone is a system, and if you don't really run the system the way they do, it's going to be hard to make it, especially in a market like this that just don't pay for bullshit.
Yeah.
This is a market where people are kind of fickle with their money. So if you're going to do something, it has to be so quality that cats don't mind getting dressed to come outside to go to your space. They're comfortable in your space. They're safe in your space.
The short pump aspect and all that.
It's all that, yeah. So it's all those type of different things. I don't think that it's that they have a monopoly. I think just for the moment,
that space right there is
the only one that has done it the right way.
The 3 P's.
For that level. Yeah.
People, profit, process.
Because you build it, they'll come. But if they come and it's a bunch of shit, they ain't coming back.
Yeah.
And you tell everybody about it.
Yeah.
I'm writing a review.
With the RVA Has Talent, I was also looking up. You're doing the inmates in Richmond City Jail.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
The community stuff, man, that I like to do. So one of my sponsors was Haley Buick GMC. And this was when Barry was the general manager. Barry had to go and speak in the jail. I was there picking up a check. He was like, yeah, I'm going to talk in the jail. I was like, well, Barry, they don't want to hear no fat white dude come talk to them about how to interview, as a joke, know. And he was like, well, why don't you come? And I'm like, I'll come. He said, what would you teach them? I said, well, I'm sure there's a lot of artists in the jail. I would like to talk about how to turn your talent into a business and the importance of making sure that finances that you make run through the community, which is what our RVS Talent is about. Every artist has a nonprofit attached to him. So when the artist gets booked, the nonprofit makes money. Artist sells a ticket, the nonprofit makes money. So it's balancing the community and the artist together. So it's making the community root for the artist simply because, A, the artist is dope and the community is making money off of the artist for the right reasons. These are all nonprofits that's doing good shit. It's not the hustle game. So bringing that idea into the jail, right after I spoke, the lady called who was over the program, and she was like, a lot of the inmates, they really enjoy, I hate calling the inmates, a lot of the residents, they really enjoyed your talk. Can you come talk again? So I'm like, nah, because you can talk all day, but talking don't make you retain any information. You have to actually do something with your hands to make you really retain information. So I started a 10-week program where I taught them how to do applications, how to do cover letters, how to do resumes, how to interview, how to dress for interviews. And then I taught them how to write a business plan. So the reason I taught them the interview process first so that you can get some type of foundation, even as we go back to what we were talking about earlier, that foundation, when they getting out, they need a foundation.
No doubt.
But then teach them how to write a business plan. Simple business plan, 1-page business plan, not something that's 50 pages long, but help them understand how to budget, So we did that. Then I brought entertainers in to help them hone their skills at whatever it is, whether they were artists, whether they were, painting artists, comedians, singers, hip hop. I brought cats that have made it in, to the jail to teach them. And then after that, I brought companies in to do interviews with them. And for the cats that were getting out soon, they were actually interviewing for a job in the jail. And then after that, we would have a talent show. And in the talent show, everybody would go up and do their elevator speech for whatever their business was or the job that they desire. And then they would do their talent. And then we had a winner.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah. So, but it came from just a joke,
Blessing.
When did this start?
This was in 2014. Because I started, of course, I transitioned to the new jail, but I started in the old jail.
Yeah, I heard about Richmond City.
Bruh, man,
horrible.
Man, that was one of the most heart-wrenching days I've ever had in my life, and it still pains me when I get this vision in my head today. Man, I used to have to walk past the cells, And in the old jail, there was a brick concrete wall with a little door and a little window. Then you open that, and then the bars that the inmates were behind was there. So it's like they're in a cage, and then they're concealed behind this concrete wall. So you don't see them when you walk in the first. So like the first 3 or 4 times I went to the jail, I didn't see inmates. I knew they were on the left and the right, but you can't hear them and you don't see them.
Can't hear him.
No, it's a concrete wall.
Get out of here.
I mean, you can hear something, but they got to be screaming loud for you to really hear them.
Muffled sound.
Yeah, you just hear noise. And so I did like the 3rd class, so then the lady was like, would you like a tour of the jail? And I'm like, yeah, why not? Man, she opened that door, dog, and when I saw those black dudes sitting behind that bar, let me tell you, man, it took everything in me for me not to have like a seizure, like literally. Just that visual, like, damn, this is Department of what? Corrections?
Yeah, exactly.
How the hell you correcting anybody in this
Department
condition?
of Slavery.
Treat me like an animal.
Bruh.
There's no rehabilitation.
Man, when I saw that, man, then that's when I knew I knew. I was like, yeah, I gotta do something.
Yeah, because we're asking these guys, to pay their debt to society, right? And they're paying their debt to society with time, because that's the most valuable thing any human has to give. So if you pay your debt with society, in the same society that when you get out, they're ostracizing you, and they're saying that, no, well, tell us about your history. Oh, you were locked up, or you were locked up in federal penitentiary or whatever, so you can't have this job. And it's like, the basic sustenance for a human, you have to eat,
Gotta eat.
and you have to provide. So if you can't do these things, what are you telling me to do? Like,
Bruh.
Do the same thing you got to do.
That's a trap.
Man, that's another story for a different show, man, because I can go
And they
I can
act
go
like
on and on
people
with
that hustle really want to hustle. Most of them do it because they got to do it.
It's a survival method, man. It's oh my God, dude. If you look at my TED Talk, it really talks about how we create our environment.
oh, you got a TED Talk.
Yeah, if you look at that, my
I
TED Talk is
history I
called
got.
Empowering the Perceived Weakest Links. And it talks about how we create this thing in our bodies called prana. Prana is created in our tailbones. So we have on the left side, we have the Ida canal. On the right side, we have the Pingala canal. When we breathe out of one or different sides of our nose, we actually are creating different things in our life. So our bodies are a literal magnet. So the upper part of your body is positive, the lower part is negative, the front is positive, the back is negative.
Oh, I like that.
The left side is positive, the right side is negative. So we attract these things. Prana, everything is made out of prana. No matter what you think of something, it's everything, anything you look at is made out of prana. So we create this when we breathe through our different noses. So what happened is, when we breathe through our left nose, we're creating like benevolence, we're creating like empathy, we're creating like passion, we're also creating manipulation, we're also creating stress, we're creating different things. Right nostril, we're creating overcoming, but we're also creating like evil. I mean, it's all about how you think and what you think about. When you breathe out of both nostrils, you actually create prana. So whatever you filled your tailbone with for that breathing process, because throughout the day, you breathe through one nostril or the other. You rarely do you breathe out of both nostrils. You breathe out of both nostrils only when your breathing is switching. So when you breathe out of both nostrils, you're creating prana. Whatever you created in your tailbones, from your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings, your actions, when you breathe out, you are putting that into the universe. When you breathe back in through both nostrils, you are bringing that back into your reality. It's a hard fucking thing to really conceptualize, believe, and even think about. But it's true. So when a kid is born in Mosby Court, they have no choice but to breathe the environment that they're in. So to try to criminalize somebody for living a life that they inevitably had to live because of this simple scientific principle fact. Forget the emotional aspect of it, the moral aspect. This is science. And the people that are the top oppressors, they know this. They understand this.
They definitely know that.
Yeah, they know it. So, and there's a book called Secrets of the Yogi. I encourage anybody to read this particular book, Secrets of the Yogi. Read that book. It speaks precisely about what I'm talking about now. But then whatever you get out of that book, go read another book that's like it, just so you can prove that book wrong. You won't prove it wrong.
Seems like manifestations of physics.
It is physics. It's exactly. So there's a dude named Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie was given the opportunity to hang out with the most wealthiest people in the world back in the late 1800s. So he hung out with the Rockefellers. He hung out with the big money cats. So he wrote basically he studied them and wrote about them. And that was his job. And he talked about how much they focus. Then he met a yogi, a dude from Eastern civilization, came over and then said, well, this is why they're getting what they're after. This is why Trump can manifest what he's manifesting. Because he's so focused on it.
Yeah.
So focused on.
He's so, yeah.
Focused on hate.
And he believes it, though.
He believes in it.
He believes it. Now, here's the thing about that,
Do
though.
you think he really believes it, though? Or do you think that...
He believes it whether he believes it in a positive sense or whether he believes it as it could come out of fear. But he believes it. He believes that he is capable of building a fence in Mexico. It's not a joke.
I think he really believes it.
He believes
definitely
he believes that he can get away with every crime that he has ever
In
done.
order to believe it, you need people backing you. He has people
he
backing
got people backing him.
Yeah.
But everything is money driven. So
I wouldn't say that.
Which is the root of what?
everything is money driven.
Which is the root of what?
Of all evil. Look, where they got all them kids at now, it's all money driven. Them all his friends, people he know that's running all them
Look, man.
camps.
But here's the beautiful thing about life. And here's the encouraging thing I say to everybody. Nothing not rooted in love will be sustained by life. It can't be because it's not connected to life. Therefore, a person can focus on anything that they want to and can manifest it for a short period of time. But if it's not rooted in love, it has no choice but to reach its demise. That's not up to the person.
Yeah.
That's principle life. So that's why slavery had its period of time, because a motherfucker focused on it, but life couldn't sustain slavery.
There you go.
So they had to rebrand it, rename it, redo something else. Now that's ending, and that's the criminal justice system. Now you got somebody like Trump who's trying to create a dictatorship. Really, what I think he's trying to do, he knows the end is coming. He's trying to push as much money to the top as he can before all this ends. That's just my humble opinion.
Yeah, because they already said 10 years, their reign is going to be over.
Oh, it's
10 years. It's going to be.
So they see it coming.
Can't stop it.
Yeah, they see it coming, and it's not that the other people. This is again my humble opinion. I don't think it's going to be because the other people think that they now can make the money. Money ain't gonna matter to them.
Yeah.
Once money stop mattering,
That's it.
then people become moral.
Well, what's going to be the new money then? Because it's always got to be
I think the
money.
new money's gonna be favor. I think it's going to be me doing shit for you because you're the right person I should do shit with. It's going to be me helping you because helping you is the right thing to do. I think it's just going to be favor. We're going to have human favor to help everybody make it because I think things are about to get worse before they get better.
So it's like a more progressive barter system.
Yeah.
A more progressive barter system, but a natural barter system.
Natural barter system.
I would even take out the word system
Okay.
and just say a natural connection with
The
humans.
system, in like it's going to be controlled if you say system.
Yeah, yes, it's not, yeah. So, but that's, my humble opinion, but I think they know that the end is coming. And when I say they, I'm talking about the parasitical element of our society.
I want to read. I want to read your mission, man.
Parasites.
I like
sorry.
that.
I had to shut it out.
He said, your mission is to use comedy and entertainment to find common ground by bridging racial, religious, socioeconomic, and generational gaps.
Yeah.
Oh wow, brother, you are profound.
Yep.
God,
I was loving that, man.
rich history.
Again, man, the only thing that we all have in common on Earth is the fact that we're humans. I don't care where you're from, what your religion is, how old you are, what you believe in, what race you are. We all have that one thing in common. That's where the power lies. I think what happens is that we start getting external things that further separates us, and it distorts humanity. Then if I can get a black man to hate a white person before they even get to know the white person, if I'm part of the parasitical element, I win. I think we're fighting on Earth a spirit. And I think that spirit is a demonic spirit because nobody that's doing the shit they doing today created what they're doing. They're just carrying what was done before we got here. Trump is only doing what his dad showed him to do. Trump Jr., how could you expect him to be different? Yeah. So it's a systematic process. So I think the remedy is to humanize everybody, get everybody on the same accord, to understand that we are each other, understand that if I hurt you, I'm hurting myself. And then get everybody to know that, I live by creed. I treat everybody the same. I deal with them differently. How I treat you is up to me. How I deal with you. How I treat you is up to me. How I deal with you, that's up to you. But I'm going to treat you the same. If I know you're a shitty person, I'm not gonna be shitty to you, but I'm gonna stay out your way because you told me that in order I can't deal with you, so I'm out of your way. But if you come my way, I wish no ill on you whatsoever. Yeah. You know, people call themselves Christians, and I think sometimes they overlook what I think is one of the greatest prayers of all time, love prayers. And that's when Jesus was on the cross and he said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." Mm-hmm. He was praying for the people that was about to kill him. Mm-hmm. Because he knew that if I fight the person that's showing me they have this evil spirit in them and I try to hurt the person, the spirit in them wins. Mm. So, but that's where we get distracted. It's like people, I hate Trump. Why would you want to do something to somebody that you can see that is obviously infected? Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's obvious. So the only way to defeat that is through love. If you say something bad about Trump, it empowers him. Yeah. He drives off that. But if you walk up to him and say, a black dude just walking, be like, man, you know what, bro? I don't support your politics. I don't support the things that you're doing. But at the same time, I just want you to know I love you, man. And I'm really praying for you. And walk off. He wouldn't even know. How does he respond to that?
It would fuck him up.
I wonder what he would do.
That's like, for real. That's like the philosophy of taking the wind out of sails.
He thrives off of. It's like he got a small man mentality.
Yeah, Napoleon syndrome. Yeah,
because if anybody say anything bad about him, he has to say something back. He cannot live without saying nothing back. Just like Paul Ryan said what he said in his book. And he like dogging Paul Ryan right now because he has to say something back.
He's like the king of the get back.
Yeah.
He's a brat, man. He's a brat.
What that dude from England said when he said he was dumb and stupid and he had to get that man fired.
I mean, he's a brat, man. I mean, but at the same time, we're talking about he's not the first person to be like he is.
No.
Who was like that?
I mean, look at Pharaoh, man. Look at
I'm just saying.
Look at Hitler. Look at Nixon.
Yeah. I mean, but at least Nixon. At least Nixon.
Napoleon.
At least Nixon was smart enough not to fall in traps. He went
but
on
I think
the program.
Trump believes there is no such thing as a trap in his world.
And then the platforms he has now, like he has a Twitter, so whenever he thinks something, he can just automatically just put it out there, right then and there.
And he's his own distraction.
If he wins, do you think he gonna try to get rid of the Constitution?
Nah, there's no way he can do that.
No.
Hey, I'm saying, man, dude can do. Hey, look, it's a lot of stuff. I'm for real.
He has that power, but I don't think.
I mean, if you take away the Constitution, you take away the backbone of America.
He wants to be a dictator. So if he becomes a dictator, you can't have a dictator and a Constitution.
He's not that powerful. He has a lot of people backing him, but for him to take away the Constitution,
never say never, man. I'm telling you.
It's like you said, Bamm. Like, you know, it's like physics. And, you know, so in physics, negative and positive, when you have that balance, then you have, you know, flowing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then if you have more and more, but as long as it's, you know, meeting that equilibrium, then you have, you know, more power. So it's like you said, you could deflate somebody by taking the wind out of their sails by giving them not the opposite, but what they didn't expect. The same. You know what I mean? And it's like...
And like if hate fuels you, pretty much just keep giving that love out, and it's gonna be like, you know, like, yo.
And you got to be careful, man, because when you do that, you know, you really are setting. It's dangerous to do that. Let me say that it is dangerous to be that way because people can't handle their own conscience.
That's right.
And if they can't handle their own conscience, they'll get rid of the problem that's making them look at their conscience, which will end up being you. Mm-hmm. They killed Jesus. They killed Martin Luther King. They killed Gandhi. They killed people that made them have to face their own conscience. Mm-hmm. And they didn't want to do that. You know, the nonviolent movement with King, people say King was a punk. But the only way to get to people's conscience is to make them recognize that they're doing something that's not justified.
It's like you keep on hitting me.
And I ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything, man.
Yeah. So now we're going to put it on TV, and I want you to look at you. Look at what you look like.
That's essentially like the foundation of white guilt. You know what I mean? Like when you know they see stuff like that, they're like, "Damn, we behave like that." No, we didn't behave like you behave like that now.
But you know the people that have white guilt, not all of them, but a lot of the people that have white guilt are white people that are having to deal with the actions of other white people, but they themselves aren't that way. Yeah. So they don't know how to face us and apologize or even let it be known that, I'm because Trump has no white guilt.
No.
So a racist has no white guilt.
No.
Only person that has white guilt is a person that don't really want to be racist or has never been racist.
Yeah. That's like who was a politician that spoke on reparations a few weeks ago. saying that we're not responsible.
Mitch
for
McConnell.
Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, for what our ancestors did.
But did you know? I found this out. Did you know that the slave owners got reparations? When they freed
when they had
the
to get rid of the
slaves,
slaves,
they got $300 per slave.
Yeah.
So how can the descendants of slaves not? Because I think that even though we didn't come from slaves, I think we carry that in our spirits.
It told me on
We all came from slaves.
It told me on
I'm just saying.
Ancestry.com that I came from a slave.
I'm saying,
Savannah,
even though
Georgia.
we're not slaves right now, I'm saying I think we carry that in our spirits. I think it's
Well, the thing about it, that slave mentality is still alive.
Oh, absolutely.
There's
a reason for the current condition.
But it always has been, and the question is, will it always be? Because, we can't overlook history as African Americans. I know I'm that dude that plays devil advocate. We can't overlook history and then ask questions. I don't think you can come up with answers with everything. But from 1711 to 1492, we, the Moors, which was blacks, enslaved the Spaniards.
Yeah.
All right? So we were then the slave owners.
Yeah.
The Moors were slave owners. So from 1711 to 1492, starting in about 1478, I think it is, Christopher Columbus was traveling from South Africa to Spain, back and forth. America was founded when? In 1492 by Christopher Columbus, a dude that was traveling from Spain
But he was
to South America.
Yeah.
To South Africa. And that was when slavery ended in Spain, which at that time, not African Americans, blacks, should I say, were the slave owners. So my question is, what happened in 1492 between Christopher Columbus's travels from Spain to South Africa to where slavery ended there? This was founded here, and then 100 years later, we were now enslaved.
But I also read that said that slavery there's always been slavery.
Exactly.
But the United States was the only country that put a race on slaves. When the United States first started, they had black slaves and white slaves.
Yes.
They had both. But the United States was the only one that made black people the dominant slave and made the other poor white people think that they was better than the slaves that they were.
And do you know the system that made that happen? It's called the separation laws of the 1500s. So if you're looking like 1597, roughly in the early 1600s, there was a dude named Bacon. Bacon was from Great Britain. Bacon tried to sell native land. And blacks and whites stood up against Bacon, and Native Americans stood up against Bacon to be like, yo, dude, you can't do that. Like, nah, this is theirs. So we got Bacon shipped back to Great Britain.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, right after that, separation laws, the government started creating separation laws. When they started creating separation laws, the only way to use the separation laws was to use it by race, because all of them were white. They were all from Europe. So they started creating separation laws. Blacks became dominant slaves. Whites became slave catchers because whites lost jobs mainly because all the jobs were given to the slaves. So there was no way to make money. But the way that you could make money as a white person was to go and catch a runaway slave. So that was the biggest bounty hunter.
You were the original bounty hunter.
Yeah, if you can do that. Even if you look at modern day policing, it is mimicking that same systematic process. But it was to create separation. So now you have lower income blacks, lower income whites fighting against one another. You have the 1% remaining the 1%. And as long as we keep fighting them, they're going to remain who they are. We're each other's distraction. But
that's the craziest thing, that they done brainwashed them lower level whites to think that they still above the blacks when they both is the same. How they trick them and think that they better than the blacks when they the same, and that the white is dominating both of them.
It's kind of like you said, like he met Bernie Mac, and Bernie Mac had a joke back in the day about it was white man, a Puerto Rican, and a black man going to heaven, and he said you get to heaven if you can ask God a question that he can't answer, and white and the Puerto Rican, they both, he knew both of their answers, but a black man asked him like, when are black people gonna start working together? And he said God couldn't answer it. And so he got to go to heaven. It's like once we start uniting and start working together.
I think they put stuff out there so black people won't.
Well, it's that slave mentality that's still prevalent, man.
Yeah,
and it's a slave mentality that's still prevalent. I'm looking for, so it's a Lyndon B. Johnson quote. that I think is one of the most profound, and it's been tossed around whether he really said it or not. Fact checks have said yes, he said it. Other fact checks have said no, he was misquoted. But it's about if you can convince a white man. It's coming up now. You got this dungeon has no service.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't give you the Wi-Fi password. I apologize.
You good?
Oh, it's coming up.
Here it is. Lyndon B. Johnson. Convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man. Lyndon B. Johnson. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on and he'll empty his pockets for you.
That's so true.
I heard that this week.
I mean, so again, that goes back to then why do we have this? Because psychologically, we're so external beings that where we want materialistic shit, that's where our success lies. So as long as you can create a facade of opportunity, if you do this, opportunity if you do that, you can get this. Then people stop looking at you like you're a human. Now they're in competition with you.
Yeah.
And then you create two different teams. Now you got motherfuckers fighting against one another.
Yeah.
And it'll never end.
Shit is deep, man.
So when you talk about my like mission, it's to get people out of the distraction.
Yeah.
You know, it ain't just about getting equity for blacks, because it is about getting equity for blacks.
Yeah.
But it's not in the vein of tearing some white man down or hurting somebody to get it.
Because we be doing the same thing they did.
No. When I was out, like
So
I was partying.
do you believe in reparations?
I do believe in reparations. Damn right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think so too.
Yeah.